So we don't have too many super hard hitting topics for you. Obviously, with the team, being off for the holiday, they only had the one practice and then they had the game. With that, I guess I can touch on the injuries just from what happened today. I wasn't there because we cover like 30 teams here, so you'll have to bear with me. They did practice. I talked about Joey Decord. Chandler Stevenson had a maintenance day. Um, and the tweets from our friends who were there said that Bilesma did not specify whether or not he would play tomorrow. I went and watched the recording of him talking. He said he joked. He said, "Don't tell anyone from Utah, but expect to see him tomorrow." I don't know why that was like. I very clearly heard him. I'll probably just put the clip in here so you can watch it yourself. Oh wait. So I don't get that. I don't get why that was. So I imagine Stevie's fine. I mean, he was on the ice for Vince Dunn's overtime winning goal. I didn't see anything, you know. I imagine it was just a maintenance day. They give the veterans that. Jaden Schwartz will have a maintenance day and then he'll be fine. So I don't. And then Andre Burakovsky, yeah, Andre Burakovsky was a full participant after his illness. I am intrigued to. Oh, I can look up actually what the lines were today. I don't know. Biasma, after the team has won games, they typically leave things alone and they roll with what worked. I don't imagine they'll do that just because they were getting their stuff pushed in really bad. And you'll get Burakovsky. Yeah, Schwartz, Beniers, Kako, Sprong, oh God, Sprong, McCann, Burakovsky, Colvin Wright, Bjorkstrand, Cartier, Gord, Tanev. Fascinating. Oh yeah, and Gustav Olofsson is up here. Um, as a seventh defenseman for the time being. Um, okay. I mean, I'm not going to talk about Lions, but looking, yeah, at the homestand ahead, we've got Utah tomorrow. A Monday. Well, by the time you're seeing this, it's today. Monday, the 30th. They'll have 2 days off between games. They'll get 2 days of practice, which is nice for them to actually get some practice. Capo Caco had his first day of practice on Sunday the 29th, the time that we are recording this, and they had him do an autograph signing afterwards. So they put that boy to work. They said, "Here's your first practice. Go sign autographs for 30 minutes afterwards." God, oh God. You play Vancouver again on Thursday, and they are not expected to have Elias Pettersson or Quinn Hughes. Rick Tocchet, another bald man, said that they'll both be out week to week, which sucks for Vancouver fans. I'm sorry if you are a dual Kraken Vancouver fan, but I mean, and I would say it's maybe beneficial for the Kraken, but they were getting stomped without them anyway in that game on Saturday. Then you play Edmonton, and that's just historically always been a mad matchup for the Kraken. You get Connor McJesus and Leon Draisaitl, and then you play the Devils on Monday to close out that 4 game homestand. And you played the Devils well, but that was during a stretch where they were actually playing well. So, Silvia, we'll start with you. We'll go to Jade, and then we'll wrap up with me. What does a successful homestand for you look like with those 4 games? I mean, it's not going to be an easy one. I haven't watched Utah too much, but they look like they've been fun. They've got some wins against good teams. Vancouver, we've talked about Vancouver, and you can more. Obviously, they've struggled against Edmonton, and New Jersey is one of the better teams. Unfortunate for some. Yes, I'm looking at Jade. Um,
Thanks.
I know you don't like New Jersey.
Yep. Not anymore.
Yeah. Sylvia, what does a successful homestand for you over these 4 games look like? Is it are you looking to take 6 of the 8 points? Are you just trying to show better play after how poorly they've looked defensively? What does it look like successfully for you this upcoming homestand?
I would like to see a more consistent Kraken, even if it's not like, I honestly at this point I don't care if we're winning. I don't. I don't care. But I would like to see them generate plays that work, generate plays that are intelligent. And honestly, I'm looking at Matty Beniers here because I did call that he was going to score because the holiday cheer really got to him. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for the Kraken, new year, new me. And I hope that new year, new them is them really remembering this whole they have sorry, text messages. The Kraken have this whole thing where during intermission they will go to Piper Shaw and they'll be like, yeah, we just gotta like crash the net a little bit more. We just gotta get in front of the net and cause chaos and shoot. And then they don't do that during the actual games. But they were doing that when, we were at the beginning of December when we were playing well. It was creating those plays in front of the net and creating that chaos in front of the net in front of these really, really good goalies. And if we can get back to that, maybe we can see some goals. We can see some, structured plays. We can see like a team that is actually playing offensively, even if, Brandon Montour decides to take a nap middle of the blue line. Like as long as we are they're putting their money where their mouth is, then yeah, exactly like that. Thank you so much for the demonstration. That's actually really good, Brandon Montour impersonation. Um, I think that if they're doing what they're saying they're going to do, that's really all I want to see from this team is them, going to Piper Shaw, going to whatever other beat reporter, and actually doing that on the ice. And I think again, I generally do not care if we win if they go on a full, they win all the home stands and then they go and they keep winning. Awesome, fantastic. If they lose against Utah, which, like we know, they're Utah's doing really well. I just want to take a moment and point out that they are still the Coyotes, same team. This is not a whole new team, so it's not surprising that they're doing well. But like if they go out and they lose these, what is it, like 4 games, kind of deserved, but at least take these next 4 games where you get to go home, you are on familiar ice to kind of like, get back together and start playing like a team again.
I agree with a lot of that. I am also not expecting too much from this homestand. I am kind of expecting a win against the Canucks with EP and Hughes both still out. That's also kind of wishful thinking given how the game went yesterday. So I'm not going to be surprised if they walk away with not a single win. The game against the Devils is one that makes me a little bit nervous just because they are doing so well this year, unfortunately. Um, Very happy for all my friends that are Devils fans, but I hate it. So I'm a little bit nervous about that game. Their goaltending is really good this year. The whole team just seems to be meshing really well. Utah has also been doing good, so same thing. I'm not expecting a whole lot. And I agree with what you said about just taking the time to play on home ice and I don't know, go on a bonding trip, go have a bonding night or something and get it back together. So,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think at this point, like you said earlier in the show, it's pretty apparent who this team is. I don't think that they can, sprinkle anything on them and turn them into a better shooting team, a better uh just a better offensively talented team. Um, I do think consistency is the right step because they just haven't been that.
mhm.
They will go and take an absolute turn on the Montreal Canadiens and score 8 goals, and then they will take a nap against the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago. And just though, obviously Montreal is not the benchmark of the NHL, despite what Montreal fans will think. Um, but yeah, I mean, they pushed the Florida Panthers to a shootout. The team, and they've done this every year too. If you exclude the second year when they actually won games, like sure, but even in the first year and then last year, they beat good teams, which is wild to think about. So they can do that, but they're not consistent. Consistent is not the thing they've been in year 1, year 3, or year 4, and even showcasing year 2. It shows they're not consistent because they had the one good year, but they've all otherwise been bad. So yeah, I think that would be progress. I mean, it would be nice to say you split the homestand but I don't feel super confident in that. I mean, maybe if you do, find a way to beat Utah, and you take advantage of a Vancouver team that's without um, Quinn Hughes and his sunken eyes, and Elias Pettersson, and maybe they are just so shell shocked by the fact that they had that comeback happen against them that they're still in a funk when you see them on Thursday. But Edmonton, I have to look up probably the last time. I don't know if they've beat. I'll look at them. Um, versus Oilers in Seattle. And then the Devils, yeah. I mean, they played them close in New Jersey, the
Hmm.
Prudential Center, but um just with it, if we're looking at it this way, right? Just they are currently, it doesn't seem really good. Oh, excuse me. They just have too many talented players that, if Seattle breaks down like a bunch of Legos that, whoever is in goal, whoever the fan base might want in goal will get torched. It's just how that's going to be. Um, oh no, they have a win at against Edmonton at home. Okay. So they do have one win at home against Edmonton. They've got two wins against them all time. So yeah, not looking fantastic. So yeah, I'd say consistency. I mean, at least and even to Sylvia's point about God bless Piper Shaw, by the way. The intermission interviews they do with Piper, if they do those things and actually got to the net on a consistent basis, they would not be scoring 1 to 2 goals per game, like a hungry, starving team. But, that just wouldn't be how that would be. So yeah. And then this next topic, as we get done talking about that and how I'm stumbling over words, the New Year's is coming up.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. Where are you going to watch all those Kraken away games?
Kraken away games, making a push. I was thinking of coming here just because Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, only if that's okay with you.
I mean, I love that idea. Hope to see you here.
Hello there, everybody. Charles Hamaker here with Circling Seattle Sports. I'm joined by Jen Barnes of Rough and Tumble that we happen to be at right now.
Yeah.
Jen, why don't you talk to me a little bit about what we're announcing today, which is our partnership.
I'm so excited about this. First of all, I just want to say thank you. I think all of us here at Rough and Tumble are big fans of what you and your team at Circling Seattle Sports does. And so, I know you know this, but when you came to me with this idea, it just seemed pretty natural. And it's not just me. I think a lot of people in the sports community in Seattle also really respect you and your team. So it's exciting to kind of see these two things melding together, and we're really excited to start implementing some of the things and then hopefully seeing you guys a little bit more often.
Yeah, and so with what Jen says about seeing us more often, we've got a few things in the works, but you'll see watch parties here. We'd like to do a few different of our community drives, which you'll hear about here in a little bit. From now, we've got to make our announcements one at a time. I can't drop everything.
Not everything
right.
all at once.
But this has been a home for a lot of our team, whether it's myself, our friend, our photographer Liz is behind the camera. Liz is here often, so our team has kind of adopted this place kind of like our own since I saw you at our soft launch. So, it's been great to have that support. And in a lot of ways, and part of the reason I wanted to do this was the Rough and Tumble embodies a lot of what Circling Seattle Sports wants to do. Obviously with women's sports, with the storm and the rain, but just being, having the game on, every game on.
Yep.
How much of that, did you see a line kind of even before this idea was mentioned when I first met you?
I think it's always felt like that. I mean, you and your team were here on opening night, and you just feel like you're part of the space, so it felt like really natural. And the fact that you actually cover all of the sports really makes your group stand out. So you are always covering all the rain games, all the storm games. UW women's softball, UW women's basketball, UW women's hockey. We love it. So all of those things, and obviously passionate M's fans, passionate Hawks fans, and passionate Kraken and Sounders fans. So really, from our perspective, those two things meshed really well.
So, I mean, you heard it from Jen herself, but this will be our home for all of these events, whether it's you can't make it to these games at home, we're always going to direct you to Rough and Tumble, and obviously the games on the road as well. All these, I mean, we're talking about the Reign, they've got their schedule out finally, but this will be our home for that.
Great.
The Storm games on the road, this is our home.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
I love it.
And when I mentioned it to Jen when I first had this idea come up, I had this idea come up wearing a pink wig.
Yes, you did.
Ahead of Megan Rapinoe's final regular season home game for the Reign this past year.
Yeah.
I told her it's because I wanted this to feel genuine.
Yep.
I wanted a connection to feel genuine, and it does. So that's what this is. Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, and I'm so excited to finally announce this partnership.
I can't wait.